Mr. Speaker.
House resumes and debate continues. Yes, I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister and the parliamentary representative for the Vikas constituency. Your mic is on.
Mr. Speaker. Yes. Yes. Okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you for recognizing me. I want to say to the party for Roto South, I'm sorry I missed the Fetla Kudwe jumper. But I'm saying to all my friends in Barford State that I will not miss next year. But I was able to go to St. Anne's Feast in Mao. A good time there. I think better Sudan had a better time than me. And I will not speak to some of my favorite songs, Mr. Speaker. What happened in Set on Feast, stay in Set on Feast. Well, Mr. Speaker, it is really a distinct honor for me to rise to make my contribution to the budgetary proposals presented by our Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. McIntyre. I think Dr. McIntyre's presentation of the budget assured me of the depth of talent which exists in this government and the Dominican Labour Party, and the continuing confidence which the people of Dominica will continue to show in the Dominican Labour Party. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, this is the first time in 19 years I am making a supporting contribution to the budget as opposed to presenting the budget. And I can tell you it feels good. But it was really interesting to listen and to appreciate the proposals which the Minister of Finance presented, the policies which he articulated, and to view them from his lens as Minister of Finance. Their lens that I understand very well of the balancing act that's required in the preparation of a budget. There are many competing interests. There are many demands. There are different priorities. We have to try to, in the budget, to seek to create jobs, policies and programs to create jobs and opportunity. Ensuring that the less fortunate among us are continue to be taken care of. The Minister of Finance and the Cabinet has to find the resources to finance the budget. Because contrary to what Senator Paris understands, There's no money sitting there. Every month, every day you have to make it. This is why they call estimates. Estimates. You have to make it. Everybody wants more, but nobody wants to contribute. And a budget that really presents no taxes. And I will speak to some of the measures later down. If you look at the budgets that have been presented in the Caribbean over the last 3 years, you will see that all of them contain new taxes or increased taxation, and quite rightly so. Because I always say to people, every time you present a budget to the country, there is always a justification. There is always a need to consider taxation. But we in the government understand the need for us to protect the taxpaying public, to ease the burden on them, to allow them to have more of what they earn and to spend it in a manner in which they wish to do it. So I truly and honestly want to commend the articulation of Dr. McIntyre in his presentation of the budget. I think he did a fantastic job, Mr. Speaker. And those who know me know that I don't give marks for free. So I truly want to commend Dr. Mark for his presentation. This budget has been presented within a particular context. Sometimes when I hear some people speak in this country, they give the impression that this Labour Party inherited, as they say, a bomb CO, a pot of honey, a pot of syrup, that every road was paved, every child was in school. There was no poverty in Dominica. Everywhere, every home had access to pipe-borne water. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, when this government came into office in 2000, every Caribbean country and every village in the Caribbean was laughing at Dominica. Every single road in Dominica was in a terrible state. I recall places like Portsmouth and Zikak, driving past, going to the health center where the health center was next to the Rodneys. All of that was mud. Mud. And we're driving on brand new roads, well-paved roads in Dominica, and we take this things for granted. When we came into office in 2000, Mr. Speaker, only 7% of secondary school students had access to the college, which means that 93 out of 100 students in Dominica could not make it to a state college. 40% of primary school graduates had access to secondary school. Or people were staying home because they were owing the hospital some user fees. And they were afraid to be embarrassed because if you did not pay what you owing, you would not be able to come and occupy a bed at the hospital. We suffered the indignity, Mr. Speaker, of being on a plane in Antigua, Liège flight. And the air hostess and the pilot would announce that passengers going to Dominica should disembark because by the time we get over Dominica, it will be too dark. No night landing in Dominica. Our country was closed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to the rest of the world. We could not pay our public officers when Labour Party got into office. We owed every single person around the world. We were not paying our debts. The Caribbean Development Bank had stopped giving money to Dominica because we had violated the rules, Mr. Speaker. The World Bank had suspended providing Dominica with loans because we had suspended the procurement rules. As a matter of fact, we had to repay the World Bank in order for us to come back to be able to borrow from the World Bank. And people talk as if, well, Dominica was so nice, boy, and see Kerry come, see where we be, and see where we be. Just reflect, all of us, if we're honest in this country. How many of us did not have a university degree in 2000, and how many of us have today, and we understand the investment that Labour Party has made in education? When we created the State College in 2002, in the middle, at the beginning of the IMF austerity program, we created the State College and revolutionized access to tertiary education in Dominica. When we presented the plan to the cabinet in 2002, and we say we're going to introduce national universal access to secondary school in 5 years. So from 2002 to 2007, we achieved this. Member for Marigot, Senator Douglas, in 2005. 2 years in advance, notwithstanding the fact we were under an IMF program. And you know, the beauty of this, Mr. Speaker, I recall a lady. There are many other instances or examples. I remember a lady in her 40s working in the public service. She may have been at EO or senior clerk level. And she said to me, Prime Minister, I'd always wanted to be a nurse. But I could not have got into school. And the lady resigned her job as a senior public officer and I'd go and attended the State College in her 40s and became a nurse in Dominica. When they talk about agriculture and support to agriculture, the only time a farmer will get help for agriculture is from Stabex funds. No monies were ever used from local revenue to help any farmer in Dominica before Labour Party came into office. And I recall the permanent secretary, he's involved in the ripening of bananas, Mr. Austri, saying publicly that he has been involved in agriculture all his life. And he said the first time a government used its own money for agriculture was when this Labour Party came into office. Hurricanes and storms would come. Farmers' homes would be affected and farms would be affected. They got nothing except those who had wind crop insurance. Many of us were around when Hurricane David hit, well, except with Lakia, Joseph, and so on. You don't know. Something, you know, Cassidy and Honorable Lloyd and Honorable George. All of you watching me, I can call my name. Homes were flattened in Dominica. Businesses smashed. And not $1 from the government. People had to go in the bush, in the forest, and cut wood, and to fix their homes, and to flatten drums to use as their roofing material. And what happened in Dominica when Maria came and Erica came? What did we do for the people of Dominica? We spent hundreds of millions of dollars helping people. There's no government in the history of our country prior to independence and post-independence who's been affected by so many external shocks and natural disasters. Mr. Speaker, I sort of liken myself to Job. The Lord has been testing Job and testing my leadership with external shocks and natural disasters. And when people think that we were going under, we rose up to the occasion. Earthquake in 2004. Trough in 2007. Trough in 2010. Another storm in 2013. Maria in 2015. Erica in 2015. Maria in 2017. Pandemic from 2020 to 2022, 2023. The Russia-Ukraine war. Prior to that, we had the financial crisis, which lasted from 2007 to 2015. The international oil crisis, when the price of oil went to as high as $150 per barrel. We have weathered all of the storms, all of the shocks, Mr. Speaker, the Iraq war, the invasion of Libya. All of these things impacted us. I'm not saying there, Mr. Speaker, that everything is rosy in Dominica. No, I'm not saying that we have a utopian society. But we cannot discount the fact, Mr. Speaker, that this government has provided the leadership that the country needed in those difficult times. Everybody said Dominica finished after Hurricane Murray. Finished. It took us 25 years to rebuild. And so, these are the things that we have to be dealing with, Mr. Speaker. When COVID came, everybody asked for a stimulus package because other countries were providing stimulus packages. And I said to the country, we are faced with not an economic crisis, we are faced with a health crisis. And our first order of business is to protect lives. Protect lives. And Senator Honorable Edwards told you or reminded the country that we are the only country who could have tested for COVID-19. Our lab was being certified by the CDC of the United States government. We never ran out of testing kits. We were a net exporter of medical supplies, Mr. Speaker. Because when we get, we share. That's how we operate. That's how we operate. And we had one of the most expansive and indeed expensive operations to care for our people. There were some who were saying 15,000 people are going to die. 15,000 people are going to die. 25,000 are going to get the disease at one time. So people must not, people behaving as if, well, this country, and you know, and Honorable Dr. Henderson made the point that if we were not affected by these things, where would Dominica be today? And you know, by the time when Hurricane Maria came, we had saved, Mr. Speaker, about $389 million, which speaks to the prudent management of the country. That's just after Erica, you know. We were able to save $389. So when Maria hit us, we had $389 million saved in the bank. And that's outside of the $200+ million that we were saving for the international airport. You know what the intention I had with the savings? I had the intention of paying out our national debt by saving money. Because I wanted to bring our debt to GDP ratio to 20%. Unfortunately, Hurricane came. Because in a matter of 3 years, I would have had enough money to pay our national debt. Pay everybody we owe. That's what we were doing. And then we had $200+ million for the international airport. What do I do as Prime Minister when people have no roofs? People have no jobs because their business is mashed up. Do I say, well, let me keep on saving for the airport, or to spend it on people? Spend it on people. No money coming in because everything coming in tax-free in Dominica. No VAT collected, no import duties, everything. But our expenditure increased exponentially. We were paying the salaries of many private sector entities. We paid engineers even for Domlec. Though Domlec was a private company, we had no shares in Domlec after the hurricane. Many businesses in Dominica. I see the general manager of DBS. We gave him DBS the money for the whole salary of the staff for several months. Because at the time of the hurricane, we wanted to ensure we maintain the dignity of a man and a woman. That everybody could have a wage, a salary to go home with, notwithstanding the fact that we were affected. We could have kept that money, kept the cash in the treasury, and deal with all issues. Deal with all issues. So this is the broad context, Mr. Speaker. And when you have a storm, when you have an external shock, the shock remains for some time. It's like an earthquake, you get aftershocks. You get aftershocks. And so, this is where we are, and we have had to borrow to save lives. And every time the Ministry of Health would send a bill, I said, boy, Jesus Christ, so much money we're spending, and so, we're spending. I should have signed this warrants. But it was spending that was necessary at the time. We did not bring COVID upon us. We didn't bring COVID upon us. These things happen, Mr. Speaker. So this is the context we have been dealing with. We've been dealing with in respect to the Dominica. Look at Dominica. Look at the roads that we have. Look at our healthcare system in terms of the infrastructure and the advancements we have made. See how many specialists we have at the hospitals. Young Dominicans. So there are people who want to speak as if this country was, this place where everything was booming. I see Senator Douglas shaking his head, boy, what Scary said is true, It's true. It's true. And so, Mr. Speaker, I also want to share some comments on the Citizenship by Investment program. One that has helped us in this country to transform the landscape of Dominica. That has enabled Dominica to respond and recover at a remarkable rate and pace from the devastation of Tropical Storm Erika, Hurricane Maria, and the pandemic. That has enabled us to rebuild homes and re-roof thousands of homes in this country. We spent tens of millions of dollars helping with re-roofing, new windows, new doors. I don't believe that there's one Dominican, Mr. Speaker, not one living Dominica who is alive and dead since 2000 who has not been touched by the Citizens by Investment program in this country. Not one. Not one. Touch lives. That has created jobs and employment for several people, including the international award-winning resorts that we have in Dominica. And we will recall that when we came to Parliament to hatch out a piece of the Cabbage National Park, the opposition opposed it. They didn't want the hotel to be constructed, now the Intercontinental Hotel. They wrote to UNESCO, they wrote to the World Bank, they wrote to the UN, they wrote to everybody, calling on them to stop the project because we're hatching out a piece from the Cabbage National Park. They told Sam Raphael, I can call his name because in a positive way, Mr. Speaker, the rules allow for that, right? They told Mr. Sam Raphael, do not do any hotel with Skerrit. And I knew, and everybody knew, that Mr. Sam Raphael was no supporter of Roosevelt Skerrit and the Labour Party. But that wasn't the point for me. He was a businessman who's been making a serious contribution to Dominica, and we partnered with him and see what we have done there in Soufriere today. See what we have. Utilizing these funds to build. A program that has rehabilitated our roads and restored several bridges. Several bridges and roads. Has allowed us to remain afloat in difficult times. Helping us protect the livelihoods of people in difficult times. That continues to positively touch the lives of every single citizen in this country. The 65 and over allowance, the 65 and over non-contributory pension, bringing decency to the lives of our senior citizens who work so hard for our country. And the Yes You Care program, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I speak of our Citizenship by Investment program. And the list goes on of the positive interventions that has made in this country. Yes, concerns have been raised, Mr. Speaker, by some of our partners regarding our CBI program, our programs within the OECS. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, I, along with the other 4 prime ministers, met with the US in February. And we agreed on a 6-point program that the US advisors will help enhance our program's integrity. And just last month, July, we met with the EU Commission. This month, July, is still July, right? We met with the EU Commission. And I also met, Mr. Speaker, with officials of the United Kingdom government on a few occasions over the past few months. All in an effort to find ways to address the concerns raised by our partners. I have said to our friends in the British that I am disappointed that they took that action without allowing some of the actions that we have taken to bear fruit. But we respect their right to make a decision. And I will agree, Mr. Speaker, that on some of the measures we could have moved much faster. I agree on those things. But we're not going to sit and be daunted by this. Because for the last 18 months, we've been taking action. And I will speak to those actions, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me. Over the last 18 months, we have implemented a number of measures to address their concerns. One, we have discontinued the granting of citizenship to citizens of Kurdistan region in Iraq, Belarus, and Russia. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, we're the first country that stopped accepting applications from Belarus and Russia. We've issued regulations to restrict the changing of names by citizens, because that was one of the concerns raised by the British, that they felt it was too easy for citizens to change their names normally. And on my request and in the advice of the Attorney General, we put in systems in place to make it more difficult to change the name. All our CBI staff received anti-money laundering and countering terrorism financing training from a US-based firm. We restructured the Citizenship by Investment Unit and engaged an expert compliance officer to ensure all procedures are updated and quality control is strictly followed, and our IT system is upgraded. We issued notices of our intention to revoke the citizenship of citizens who made false declarations or misrepresentations regarding their application for visas in partner countries. This is part of Dominica's legal requirement. We introduced biometric traveling documents to improve security and revised and updated the certificate of naturalization, including by increasing its security features. In addition to the due diligence checks conducted by the international firms in the US and the UK, along with the JRCC, we engaged Dominica's Financial Intelligence Unit to assist with the due diligence process. We also developed a new robust risk assessment and engaged firms from the US and UK to commence interviews of all CBI applicants. And we have been reporting monthly the applicants we have rejected to the JRCC and have given them written approval, permission to share the information with the other jurisdictions in the OECS. Mr. Speaker, we have striven to remain on the cutting edge of industry changes and requirements, and have been responsive to the requests and concerns of partnering countries, governments, and other entities. This is why, Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed that in the eyes of the UK government, we were a bit slow to respond in a comprehensive manner to concerns that impacted the security and other interests of that sister country. And so we continue to make changes to our programs. We have a robust system. However, we need to continuously monitor and make the necessary and timely adjustments to what is an ever-changing environment. And in weeks and months ahead, Mr. Speaker, we shall recruit an internationally vetted and respected management oversight team to advise on and oversee continued changes to the management and operation of our CBI program. And that process has started. Revoke the citizenship of those found to have made false declarations or misrepresentations regarding their application for visas in other countries. Introduce new certificate of naturalization, and that system has already approved. I think it will come to Cabinet soon for final approval. Undertake a comprehensive audit of our program, and this is one of the recommendations coming from the United States government. And we've also asked them to come in themselves and to examine our program. And just to say, go back, Mr. Speaker, we invited the United States Treasury Department, who have been very helpful to us, to come to Dominica, and they came in October last year. And it is out of their coming to do an independent assessment of our CBI program, they made those recommendations for the actions that we can take to improve our programs. Assess and reduce the number of agents and promoters of our CBI program. Strictly enforce the current regulations regarding the advertisement of the program by developers, agents, and promoters. Strictly enforce the regulated fees to be charged for citizenship. Further strengthen the legislation and procedure to further restrict the changing of names by citizens, and the Attorney General has started that process. Introduce robust legislation to strengthen the framework of the program. Hopefully by later this week we'll have new regulations in respect to further strengthening of our citizenship by investment program, which will go to Cabinet soon. And so we are fortunate, Mr. Speaker, that to date our partners have been very supportive to Dominica, its resilience agenda in the CBI program. And it is our hope that once we have fully addressed the concerns, we'll be able to fully protect the CBI program, and visa-free access to the UK will be restored, because they have given us the commitment that they'll continue to engage us and to review what we've done and to review their position. So we are hopeful that our actions will reflect and address the concerns of the United Kingdom and also the European Union, whom we have engaged in. But we have to appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that the world has changed. That the issue of migration and immigration, countries have issues with it. And so even if you may not have any issues with your program, but overall they have a program with immigration and residency programs. All. And I heard Senator Douglas talk about, well, with visa-free, the program is dead and so on. I have never been in the view that our program is tied to visa-free access to countries. This is why in the regulations we're opposed to anybody promoting our program in that vein. Yes, it will have an impact, but this behavior by some in the country that they want to see the CBI dead and no more revenue. So they don't have no genuine concern to say, well, Scarlett, I hope you address the issues and we can come back and we can be stronger like before. No. They're on their knees praying to. This cannot be the God of Abraham and Isaac you're praying to. It cannot be. Hoping that it ends. So that the Hesika can go away, the NEP can go away, the House Revolution can stop, that the airport can stop, that the extension of the runway Douglas Charles to sustain the direct flights from the United States can go away, that the hotels will stop and no jobs. That's what the opposition wants for Dominica. But this is why they will never get into office, Mr. Speaker. And I see the member from Marigot smiling and he's saying, well, it's scary, you know what I'm talking about, you know. It's scary, what are you talking about? So this is where we are, Mr. Speaker. And so in this budget, as we've done in other budgets, we are focusing on the productive sectors. We have increased the budget allocations for agriculture. This is why we were committed to geothermal. And I got all sorts of recommendations about solar and so on and this and that and all these things, and everybody should have your own solar system. Well, they might sound theoretically good, and I'm not an expert on energy. I'll let to Dr. Henderson to speak to. But we have to be careful as to what we repeat. Once somebody writes something for you, you have to check it for yourself. Don't go and just read this thing. Check it for yourself. When you go in Tartan where you stay in, Honorable Senator, and you have 5 homes around you, those 5 homes, they share the cost of electricity. When you take them off the grid, you take 3 off the grid, it means that your neighbors are going to pay more. They'll pay more, and then you'll have a system where it cannot sustain itself, and then the ordinary man in Marigot, Sam's Gutter, Fine Grass, North End, won't be able to have electricity because you cannot supply them anymore. It makes no sense to supply them, because it's too expensive. So, when you see a figure, you must analyze it. So don't say, I see the figure in the budget. You have to analyze it. What does it mean? You have to comprehend it. So let us understand our commitment to geothermal, yes, it's been taking long, but when the world hasn't taken long, the French have been trying to develop in Guadeloupe, Bouillat, for the last 60 years. It's a difficult thing. It costs a lot of money. How much money we have to spend because no private sector entity is going to spend money for the exploratory phase. So we have to spend this. For any private sector person to come to spend it, you have to get it to a point where you confirm, as a matter of fact, scientifically, that there is energy there. And we remain committed to it, notwithstanding the shocks we've had, the disasters that we have faced, because we believe that is important for the future of our government. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. But we know, as of today, Mr. Speaker, it will make a huge difference in the lives of ordinary Dominicans, investments in Dominica, the cost of living, Mr. Speaker, and put more money in people's pockets. So we're committed to it. But when they speak about geothermal, it's not about, can we get it tomorrow morning? No. It's about an undermining of it, hoping that it doesn't work. That is the attitude we have in the opposition. We invested in tourism, Mr. Speaker. Public-private partnerships. All of this, Mr. Speaker, is to create jobs. Where is the cable car? Where is the marina, Mr. Speaker, which will transform Portsmouth and the Vickers constituency? The marina is close by you. It's 7 minutes from my constituency. Create jobs. They don't speak about this thing, but they don't want these things. Even today, they're attempting to stop the international airport. Want to go to court. They say no EIA when you give a copy. They tell you pages fast. Investing in those things, in tourism, improving the sites, training people, making Dominica cleaner, more beautiful, more attractive, promoting resilience in our agriculture, in our tourism. And so we're committed to tourism, committed to ensuring that we grow tourism because it can create jobs. Small business, this is a small business government. There's no party in our history who has provided support to small business than this Labour Party government. We created the Small Business Unit and have provided millions of dollars in grants to small businesses. Small business in Dominica is the biggest employer of people in Dominica today. Transforming primary products into secondary and tertiary products, exporting. Mr. Speaker, the reality is, I do not believe that the statistics are capturing the impact and contribution of small business to our GDP. Because you see, a lot of these things are done informally. When we export oils, coconut oil, and honey to Guadeloupe and Martinique, we pass it as personal luggage. And cocoa sticks, spices. It's passed as luggage. We send 5 boxes. But it's 5 boxes of honey is €3,000. This extra virgin coconut oil, Minister for Agro-Processing, Agro-Industries, and Nature Blends. When you export coconut oil to Martinique, Guadeloupe, and St. Croix and St. Thomas in the United States, it is not captured in the data. But we continue to provide support, not only grants, but loans at concessionary rates, 3% at the aid bank. So far, $16 million have been approved. People across Dominica. And if small business people, and I think they were honestly themselves when we met with them during the budget consultation, they were full of praise and gratitude to the government. This is the small business government. Agriculture, I point to agriculture. You will see an increase, Mr. Speaker, of investment in agriculture. Planting more coconut palms, more long-term cocoa, coffee, soursop, and trade and agriculture and Dexter have joined forces, and they're going to be going to every island in the Caribbean to engage the market. To engage the market. And with the construction of the research and development facility at 1 mile in Portsmouth by the Chinese, and I thank the Chinese government for this, $10 million to develop tissue culture plants, pest and disease resistant plants. You've seen the remarkable work done by trade and agriculture with regards to white potatoes, Mr. Speaker. This year, 68% of our imports were replaced, Mr. Speaker. 68%.
15 more minutes.
68%, Mr. Speaker. Every time I come to the house, my time go fast. When I get to, because if you give me more time now, they don't add the 15%, they don't add it to it. So when I come to my end, I'll take more time. And we've spoken that I believe we can grow white potatoes year-round in Dominic. Year-round. And that's going to happen next year. Year-round we can plant potatoes. I have tried it. That can go in anytime, anywhere in Dominica. Can you imagine that it grows in Mont Daniel? So it can go anywhere in Dominica, that's my view. Construction, Mr. Speaker. Construction. So many housing and road infrastructure. I drove through Castle Bruce yesterday on Saturday, and to see the quality of work and the improvement there to the access to those communities. $127 million invested there, enhancing the safety and economic opportunities for the people of Castle Bruce and the Carnago territory, and at Kingston. Because with roads, more people will come, more trade and commerce will take place, and we have to position ourselves to take advantage of this $127 million investment. Homes being built with local contractors buying all the local materials from local suppliers. Investing to grow the economy, Mr. Speaker. And I listen to the opposition, Mr. Speaker. I'm not going to say anything about the leader of opposition herself, right? You're not going to say anything about this. But no, I would say no. But I can say to the people of Salisbury, because we'll talk about I don't like Salisbury. I believe Salisbury has some of the most wonderful people, hardworking people, bright, successful people. And the reality is, there are few who try to give Salisbury a type of name that does not reflect the people of Salisbury. They're respectful people, decent people, people who have made a tremendous contribution to Dominica's economic development. And they want to peddle this notion that Scarborough don't like. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, I have no ill will to anybody in Dominica. Anybody in Dominica? None whatsoever. None. But we have been doing work in the Salisbury constituency. We've spent monies on roads, including the main road in Salisbury. Many roads in Salisbury constituency. Rehabilitated the Salisbury Primary School. Completed a new water system for Salisbury. As a matter of fact, we had done a new water system for Cooley Street. It was washed away by Erica. Just a few months before we had done that. $5 million spent in the water system. Install a number of street lights based on the requests of the community. Renovated several homes which were destroyed by Maria. A number of families have benefited from the housing program with funds from the World Bank. 3. The full rehabilitation of Salisbury Heights Road up to the intersection of Mako Street. And then we ran a second project to rehabilitate a greater part of Mako Street Road. Cleaned up and dredged the Cooley River. And since then, there will be no overflowing of the banks in Cooley Street. Millions of dollars spent there dredging the river. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, there are 41 people in Salisbury engaged under the National Employment Program, the NEP. 13 people, senior citizens, are receiving care under the SUK program. Plus, we have caregivers providing them care. 166 people from Salisbury receiving the 65 and over allowance every month. Every child in the Salisbury constituency receives free transportation to secondary school paid for by us. And the parrot has received, just like me as a parrot for bakers. And I don't get more than her, and we're supposed to get more than everybody else, Mr. Speaker. But the same 50 I gave myself, the same 50,000 she got for constituency allowance. We financed the carnival this year in Salisbury. Finance it. So we can say we want more. That's fine, but don't say you're not getting. Don't give the world the impression that the government is not falling on. So this is not right. This is not true. I have nothing personal to say about the opposition leader. But one thing, Mr. Speaker, one thing with the member for Marigot, he knows how to say thanks. Eh? And I know the gentleman for a long time. His father is my personal friend. We're still friends. I know why he had to support last time. His mother would not see me anywhere in Dominica, anywhere in the world without she come and give me a hug and tell me hi and so on. So I have. We'll work with him. We'll work with him to bring improvement and change to Marigot. But the same $50,000 he got, and once he passed the budget, he get another top up, Mr. Speaker. It is the same $50,000 that we offered the former MP, and he never took it. And the Salisbury MP, former MP of Salisbury, never took the $50,000. And Rosenhoff never took it. Can you imagine, Mr. Speaker, you are a member of parliament for people who need help, and you're getting $50,000 cash, and you're not taking it because you want your people to think that the Labour Party does not love them, Mr. Speaker? That's not good. Are you guys' hearts made of stone? There is no blood flowing. There is no sensibility. So we are working. We'll work with them, and I intend to visit Marigot so I can visit some of the concerns that you have, and to find solutions jointly with you and the people of Marigot to solve those problems. And so we continue to support. We give the Marigot Mayfest money. We give them money. I think we were $15,000 or so. With the parrot, we revived St. Peter's Feast in Marigot. I won't tell you how much he got because the check was too big, Mr. Speaker. But there's no, if you reach out to us, we help. That's what it is. So I gave the commitment to the people of Marigot and Salisbury that, look,